Hello everyone, so we're back. We do this once a year, as you all know. My favorite albums of 2024. Let me make sure everything's okay, everything looks fine. Goes back a bit first. Still looks good. Okay, so this is my favorite albums of 2024. Do this once a year, as you all know. One album that did not make it on the list is the Has Been Hotel soundtrack, which I really wanted it to, but it did not. And now some of you might be happy it didn't. I really think you probably think I like the show a bit too much, but did not make it on. Wasn't good enough, so didn't make it on. Anyways, let's get into this. So before we get into that, let's get into some honorable mentions. So the honorable mentions, first one is I Lay Down My Life For You by JPEG Mafia, which I think is the weakest out of his recent albums, but still I think it's quite good. Features a lot of metal sounds in it. A bit different. Like I said, not as quite as good as some of his other stuff, but it's still like it quite a lot. And he's really one of the most talented, most unique rappers today, in my eyes. And then another honorable mention is Revert Punk by DJ Recode. So this is like a kind of like electronic and punk and metal hyperpop kind of fusion release. I really like the vocal effects in it. I think it's really fun. I like the little interludes too. Really cool release. I've never heard of this artist before, but I'm glad I checked it out. Next one is a mixtape. It's Scrapyard by Quadeka, the YouTuber turned musician. I guess he's still a YouTuber, you know. So this is some EPs and then also some new stuff. I think it's a lot better than his album that he did, which I think is good too, but I thought this one was a lot better. It's really catchy. It's some great vocal delivery, and interestingly, I think it's my favorite hip hop release of this year. So, really fun release. Very cool. All it takes is one time. As poker players, we all dream of cashing in on our one time when the stakes are low. There we go. Don't know what that was. All right, hold on. Okay. Anyways, Scrapyard. It's an ad, I guess. Okay. Next up, we have Wall of Eyes by The Smile. This is the side project of Radiohead. It's I don't think it's as good as their other album, but it does, in my opinion, have their best song, which is Bending Hectic. It was also released near the beginning of the year, I think February or January, I don't remember. But it's still really good. Features a bit of a different sound, features a more post-rock inspired direction. Still really good, still really fun. Like it a lot. Next up, we have Only God Was Above Us by Vampire Weekend, the New York indie rock group, indie pop, whatever you want to call it. I think this is their best yet. I was really surprised how good this was. It's insanely catchy, has some really great harmonies and rhythms. I thought it was going to make on my top 10, but it did not. It's still really good. Really fun release, really catchy, really fun to sing along to. All right. So that's it for my honorable mentions. Now, number 10 is No Title as of 13th of February 2024, 28,340 Dead by the Canadian post-rock group Godspeed, You Black Emperor. So, I would say this is probably maybe my fifth favorite release by them overall, I had to say. Probably, yeah. It's their best release in a while, I think. And it's very pretty, but it also has a really sad message. It's so the title of the album is a reference to the amount of Palestinians killed in the Israel-Gaza war, which is horrible. It's a lot more now. I think it's over 50,000 now. so it's not good. And they really do spread their message well while not saying anything at all because it's instrumental. And they are a political group. I think everyone should probably kind of know that. Even though they're instrumental, they're still a political group. It's really good. My 10th favorite of the year. Very pretty, but also very emotional and sad. And some really great structures and rhythms and great progressions. Number 9, we have Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation. This is the Colorado death metal band, progressive death metal band. This only has 2 songs, but they're basically just 2 made into 6 tracks, which they call templates. First one's called The Stargate, the second one's called The Message. And this is a really interesting, one of the most unique and creative, interesting death metal releases I've heard in a long time. So it takes a lot of influence from 70s German electronic music with the Moog synthesizer and all this other stuff, and it even says Sight 1, which is German for side. I'll take it out because it's just black. It kind of almost sounds like if Pink Floyd made a death metal album. There's even some parts that legitimately sound like Pink Floyd, with the cleaner sung vocals. But it's really, really good. Definitely my favorite release they've done, and one of my favorite metal releases of the year, if not the decade. Absolutely love it. Next up, we have Brat by Charli XCX, which is one of the most popular releases of this year, and I think it's her best yet. So some people were kind of worried that after Sophie died, rest in peace, it would, because she was a really big part of her production and all this other stuff, that the music might not be as good, but luckily they were wrong, and she ended up releasing her best album. It's a really fun release, very EDM filled, but still some parts that are more emotional and personal too. It was really fun, really catchy, really creative, out there. Let's go to this cool book. I think she probably knows it. It's pretty much the best thing she's done. Yeah, and I don't think it's very common for pop releases like this to get into my top 10 of the year, but this one did because it's that good. Next up, we have Muuntautuja by Oranssi Pazuzu. They're a Finnish avant-garde metal band. And they feature a lot of psychedelic stuff and electronic music and industrial and stuff like that, progressive metal, black metal. They're a very, very unique group. And I think I really love their album Mester and Kinsey, but I think this one managed to be even better. It's a really good release. And there's a lot of different stuff, there's some noise influence on here and stuff like that, and it's in Finnish though, as you can probably tell, but I don't really think I need to understand the lyrics, just know it hits really hard. It's really good stuff. Really interesting, unique sound for metal. Really like it a lot. Alright, so next up we have Monarch of Monsters by Vylet Pony. So I don't know, some people might make fun of me for having this in my top 10. She's like a MLP themed, My Little Pony themed musician. But this one she kind of abandoned that and went a more looks like a furry direction or something, I don't know. But it's still really good stuff. This is a very different approach. Usually she's known for electropop and electronic and stuff. This is a much different direction with a aggressive noise rock direction. It has like some metal, it has some progressive rock, it has some no wave, it has all this other stuff, and some industrial here and there. And I think it's the best thing she's done yet. And I think all her albums are concept albums. I probably need to look more into it, but I'm really loving what I heard on this. And I think like people are finally catching up to, yeah, she's a really talented person. She is. Really, really interesting release, and just like it a lot. Very aggressive and noisy and kind of scary at times, but also at times very beautiful and emotional. So I like it a lot. Next up, we have the Challengers score by Trent, Reznor, and Atticus, which is basically just 9 Inch Nails now. I think this is the best score that they've done yet. I think it's so good. I think it even kind of matches up with some of the best stuff 9 Inch Nails has done. It's like a techno release, but it also features like some like bouncy rhythms and some industrial here and there, and some like lots of synths. I haven't even seen the movie. I just really, really love the score. I'll probably need to watch it at some point because I like the score so much. But there's even a song where they even sing on it, like Trent Reznor does. Oh, and also it comes with these cards. It's kind of cool, I guess. It's instrumental, obviously, except for the last song, but really, really well produced, very unique sounding, and interestingly, one of the best EDM releases I've heard in a long time. Really like it. Number 4 is Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay. So this is the album that a lot of people are probably going to have as their album of the year, which it is definitely one of the best of the year. It's not my number 1 though, but it is still really good. Florida, synth pop, neo psychedelia group, Magdalena Bay. Well, they're a duo, but you know. It's very pretty, very catchy. Features a lot of really interesting fusions of like psychedelic music and rock and synth pop and all this other stuff. The vocals are great. The rhythms and production is amazing. Just really unique and incredible. Like my favorites off of this are Tunnel Vision, Cry For Me, and Ballad of Matt and Mika. Those are probably my favorites off of it. Really pretty on blue vinyl too. It's definitely a lot better than Mercurial World, which I liked a lot too. But this is probably one of the best synth pop albums I've ever heard. Maybe not the best. Really, really like it, and I can see why so many people like it as much as they do. It's just not in my top 3. So now, next we have, interestingly, this is a release that released not even a week into the year. It released on January 6th, 2024. This is Death and Birth of an Angel. It's an EP by the metalcore band Fallingwithscissors. They're from Minnesota. This features some really unique and interesting forms of like breakcore with mathcore and all this other stuff, and obviously other forms of electronic music too. Some really cool stuff, and they mix really, really well. This vocal ability on this is incredible. I really love the rhythms and the changes and the like beat switches and all this other stuff. It's really, really interesting stuff. One of the most unique metalcore releases I've heard in a long time, and one of the best metal EPs I've ever listened to. And it's crazy that something this good released near the beginning of the year, but it was so good it managed to still be in my top 3. So really, really love this release. I'm so excited to hear an album from them, because if their EP is this good, I can't imagine how good their album will be. So next up we have Cool World by Chatpile, the Oklahoma noise rock, sludge metal, borderline new metal group. I think it's named after the film. I think this is even better than God's Country. It features kind of their aesthetic kind of thing. This feels a lot more new metal than the previous album, but it's still really good. Really great hooks on this, and really some of the most unique like vocal deliveries in metal I've heard in a long time. And I really love the pummeling guitars and just the the rhythms are just really, really catchy and fun. And they also have a lot of leftist political messages, which is interesting because they're from Oklahoma, which is really very progressive state. But it's some really good stuff, and really, really love it. I think the Mask, I think that's pronounced M-A-S-C. That's probably my favorite song they've done. And it also features some slower parts too, but it's some really, really good stuff. I really, really do like it a lot. It's really good. And then my number one, which you guys probably already knew what it would be, is The New Sound by Geordie Greep, the English musician originally in, he was originally in Black Midi, the like experimental rock band, but they broke up, and then he released a solo release, which a lot of people were kind of worried that they broke up, what's going to happen now? Luckily, Geordie Greep not only managed to make an album that was amazing, but he managed to make an album that was somehow better than all of Black Midi's albums. So this is really good stuff, and this is, obviously you can kind of tell the cover is different. This is our alternative cover I got. It features some unique blends of like jazz rock with progressive rock, and there's still a bit of some like that avant-prog sound heard on the two latest Black Midi albums. But there's also a lot of stuff like there's some Latin rock influence, which I know he seems to be a really big fan of Latin rock music, like Brazilian music, bossa nova, and stuff like that. He incorporates a lot of that in this. And there's also, it definitely feels more like it's a Geordie Greep release. It doesn't feel as much like a Black Midi release, which I think is a good thing. And there's also a lot of, if you look at the lyrics, there's a lot of like lines that kind of make fun of like toxic masculinity and stuff like that. And also I did this, if you're wondering why I wasn't a stream on Thursday, it's because I was having my brother listen to this and I got struck down, so it got blocked. So I just deleted it. Just too bad. No one. Monkey paw. Monkey hand, whatever you want to say. But it's some really, really great rhythms, some great lyrics, some incredible vocal deliveries on this. And even the one guy from HMLTD, which is named the vocalist, which a lot of people complain about their vocals, he's really good too on this too. He's a really good singer. Kind of looks like something got in here. I'll worry about that later. Okay, and there's also one other thing. Hold on. Got this. This is a 7-inch, which features a very different sound than the other songs, but it's still really good. Really good stuff, and really catchy, really fun, pretty humorous and funny at times too. Really good release, great storytelling, great progressions, some really, really interesting fusions. Just a really, really great release overall. He did a really good job on this, and I can't wait to hear more from his solo stuff if his first album's this good. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.